Okay guys, welcome to my second ever Q&A. Today I'm answering questions you guys left me under my recent posts. Most of them are about my future music releases or where I started making music. But let's start with the best question by far of all. What's your go-to breakfast? This is a very deep, profound question, and I'm gonna give a very deep, profound answer. Probably Cheerios. Although I also enjoy granola, and Raisin Bran is also pretty good. It's a bit underrated. Okay, now we're starting for real. Is there anything that inspired you to make music, and how long have you been making it? Well, I started making music when I was about 3 because my parents forced me into it. Classic case of child labor, making me practice 20 minutes of piano a day. I started with piano and violin about 3 or 4. Then I started writing music around 5 or 6. So it was an early start, but it really paid off. In the long term, I'm very grateful to them for doing that. And what inspires me? I'd say really it's just that there's nothing that really fulfills me the same way. I'm always hearing music in my head, so being able to get that out in the world is just a feeling you can't really compare. It's like building out this world that used to only exist inside your head, but then it's out there for other people to explore and enjoy as well. And honestly, I just listen to a ton of music and I'm inspired by all of those people, and I want to be able to do what they do. Question number 3. Which artist inspires you the most? If you could meet any composer or musician, who would you choose to have lunch with or to meet? And I'm gonna group these all into the same question because the answer is the same. It's this guy named Thomas Bergerson. He's this epic orchestral composer. You may know him through his music label, 2 Steps from Hell. He's just had a huge impact on my life. At the core of his sound is this epic cinematic orchestral style, but he does everything from traditional classical music to heavy metal. He writes tons of world music, ethnic singing, all of these amazing things, and he brings it all together into something new and unique. So he's just a huge inspiration for me. I'd say honorable mentions would go to Charlie Puth, Coldplay, and Ludovico Einaudi, who's a pianist and composer many of you have probably heard of. What's your favorite song from another artist? So going back to what I was just saying, it's either between We Are Legends, which is a 13-minute orchestral piece by Thomas Bergerson, or Experience by Ludovico Einaudi. It's his most famous piece, and honestly, I think it's just the perfect piece. You should check them both out. And in terms of pop, I'd probably say Yellow by Coldplay. It's so nostalgic in such a bittersweet way, which is just like my favorite emotion. So honestly, anything from Coldplay is great. Okay, here's a good question related to what I was just saying. How do you approach those moments when nostalgia becomes painful and one starts longing for the much better past? So this is kind of the theme of most of my piano music under Painting Winter. And the thing is, I don't really write from the perspective of the future looking back into the past. I write my music from the perspective of being in that much better past. So I'm not really old enough yet to know what it would be like to look back at a long distance on your childhood and kind of reflect on that, since I feel like my childhood was pretty recent and my life right now is in many ways still the golden days of my life. So for me, I don't feel nostalgia in a very visceral way, but I kind of write music that I hope will capture the beauty around me, because I know that someday that'll be gone. Okay, here's a fun question to break things up a bit. Is your hair naturally that curly? Lol. And yes, lol was part of the question. The answer is yes, my hair is naturally this curly. I used to hate it when I was a lot younger. Back then, I don't really blame myself. My hair was really short and it just grew up. It was just an afro. And I did not want to have an afro, so I decided to grow it out. I was really inspired by Star Wars. I wanted to have one of those Padawan braids, so I decided if I had long hair, I could grow out a braid and then cut the rest of my hair and just have a long braid. But I decided not to cut the rest of my hair, so 7 years later, I still have long hair, and it's naturally curly, and honestly, I'm pretty happy with it. Are you currently in college or music school? Yes, I am currently at USC Thornton School of Music, majoring in music composition, hoping to double major in music production as well. I'm in my dorm right now, as you might be able to tell. Okay, cool question. Would you ever consider releasing your music as a physical format, so CD or vinyl, whether for Painting Winter or after your upcoming pop rebrand? And yes, I would absolutely consider that. I am planning on that. Unfortunately, not for Painting Winter, just because my rebrand is coming up pretty soon, and I just don't have time to go through all of that and make CDs and vinyls in the next few months for Painting Winter. But within the next year or two for my future music, I will absolutely get that set up. Another cool question, would you ever do song covers or piano covers? I don't want to say no, but realistically the chances are low. I don't know. I've never been super interested in performing other people's music. I just love creating my own music, so I'm probably gonna stick to original music mostly, but it's definitely possible I'll do covers of music later on. And I just want to clarify, you never know what you're gonna expect from the future. Because a couple years ago when I did my first Q&A, one of the questions was, would you ever consider singing pop music or writing pop music? And I said, no, there's no way I would ever do that. I'm totally into piano, and that will be my career for the rest of my life. But now I'm moving on from piano and into pop. So you never know what to expect. So I got a few awesome questions about my upcoming pop rebrand. First question I'll be answering is basically just, what will your new name be? What will your new music be? What will your new content be? And my name will be my real name, Aaron Ring, not Painting Winter. My music will be pop, and I mean pop as in generally the sort of pop you hear on the radio, like mainstream pop, but with very much a twist, because I have a different non-pop background, and I try to bring that into my music as much as possible. So there's a lot of, for example, cinematic orchestral influences that you would just not get in most pop music. So definitely hoping to kind of expand the boundaries a bit. In terms of content, it will also be different. Currently, I'm posting piano videos, me playing piano for 10 seconds, about once a day. And those are awesome, really fun to make. Very glad to see so many people watching and commenting on those. But I will be changing it, obviously, for my future music, since it will no longer be piano. I'll be doing less videos, probably once or twice a week. I'll be focusing more on high quality, high effort, things like sketches about the music, behind the scenes looks into the behind the scenes, glances into the creative process. I have a couple series planned out that'll be super fun and hopefully funny as well. And I'm really excited to share all of that with you. So stay tuned. Another great question from the same person. Do you have any production on new music to be released under the rebrand? Or is the focus currently on closing the book on your old artist handle? Thank you to this guy. This guy should get an award. 5 questions, they're all really good. And the answer is yes. I've been focused basically 100% on producing these songs that you'll get to hear next year. And I've been doing that for the last year, since last summer. In terms of online social media, the focus has obviously been on Painting Winter, closing that chapter. I recently released an EP, Return to Dust, my final release as Painting Winter, just wanting to end that chapter of my life on the right foot. But behind the scenes, I've been focused 100% on the next chapter and on writing my songs. So I've put tons and tons, more than you can imagine, amount of effort into all of this. I had never even looked into music production. My DAW was iMovie a year ago, but now I'd say I'm pretty good at production. And so I'm really excited to be sharing these songs with you next year. Awesome question here. When will you release your first pop song or album? Have you set a date yet? I haven't set a specific date yet for my first single. I do have a date in mind, but I don't want to give that away yet. So stay tuned for that. I'm planning on releasing several singles. I have several singles lined up that I've been working on that I'm really proud of. In terms of an album, I want to wait until my audience is a bit bigger so I can back the album up easier. But if we can get some traction on these first singles, we'll get to that point a lot faster. So honestly, just tell everyone you know about it. Tell all your friends and family about these singles. Go around your neighborhood knocking on people's doors, telling them about my songs. You can even make a sign with the names of my songs and my face plastered on it and start running around your city, shoving it into people's faces and threatening them if they don't buy my music. Right, so that may be a bit exaggerated, but you get the idea. I think the music will be great. I think you'll love it. Can't wait for you to hear it. So here I am in the practice rooms about to record some new piano shorts. But before I do, one last question from the same guy who asked me 5 questions. Shout out to The Cultural Divide. Thank you. Last question, what's the number 1 piece of advice you would give someone who wanted to create and release music of their own? This is a tough one, but I'd say don't go down a hill on a bike at 40 miles per hour and then hit a rock and fall on your head. This is something I had to experience the hard way, by the way. It's not good for your music career. But aside from that, I would honestly say listen to a lot of music, play music, whether this is something other people have written or something you've written, and improvise on an instrument. You can get a keyboard for a relatively cheap price and just improvise. I cannot recommend it enough. I personally would not recommend starting with music theory, as I think music theory is better learned as something that can help solidify your understanding about music once you've already achieved an inherent understanding of music. But you don't want to be thinking, oh, what chord do I need to put here? According to these rules, what chord should I do next, according to what music theory tells me? You want to have a more fundamental, inherent understanding of music, and you can get that by playing music, listening to music, improvising. That's how I did it. That's what I would recommend. But honestly, just do whatever you want. It's all, at the end of the day, just for fun. Thank you for watching this Q&A, and I'll see you later.